of the songs are built around. It's an old school principle, which is, you know, everything is more or less built around the vocals and the vocal line and the lyrics.
Yeah.
Which
tells a story.
Yeah, and I'm not judging this. I just think it has changed now.
Right.
It's not that way anymore. It has become the exception as opposed to the rule. You know, in 1985, it was the rule. It was,
right.
You know, metal was built around the vocalist, the vocals, and the vocal line. And everything else was subordinate to that in most cases. And that's kind of where we are.
Okay. Now, you guys both seem like very nice guys. But they're
fooled another one.
Oh, we got him.
But there must have been times where you've had to throw down in your life.
Oh, boy.
I was hoping you would both share with me your best and worst fistfight story.
Okay. Best and worst fistfight story. Shall I go? Or
yeah.
Because I know you got a couple.
I'm a pacifist.
All right. So, I guess what's the worst one? Would that be something where I, you know, got
probably one that
kicked
ended
or...
badly. I think. And one that ended good.
Every one I've been in has ended badly.
All right. All right. The one that ended kind of badly was I was working at a place called Homestead Nursing Home. It was my first job.
You got your ass kicked by a geriatric?
No. Yes. But that's enough. I forgot about that.
That's because he was giving me shit about using the shampoo.
I worked in dietary, and I saw a gentleman. He had taken one of the trays off the cart that somebody had eaten, and he was sitting there eating it. And I went up to him and I said, George, you can't have that. You know, that's somebody else's food, and you don't want to get sick. And he was kind of just sitting there eating it. And I'm like, okay, I got to take this. And so I picked up the tray, and I put it on the cart, and I heard him stand up. And I turned around, and he went, boom, hit me in the face. And I kind of didn't know what to do. I was just like, you hit me, you know? But anyway, that's another story. All right, let me get into the real fight, the real throwdown. All right, so this guy was messing with me, and, you know, we decided to take matters outside. And I thought he was playing around. You know, I didn't think he was going to really, you know, try and fight me. So we're both out there. There's a big crowd around us. And, you know, we're squaring up and stuff like that. And then, you know, he just, like, swings and, you know, kind of knocks me back. And then I'm like, ah! And I got all Dragon Ball Z on him, you know, and just jumped up. But by that time, like, my eye was, like, you know, swollen from that first hit. And it's terrible when you have to go home and kind of show your mom, you know, that you got a nice big black eye, and it's like, well, what happened? I fell down the stairs.
Right.
It's like, you don't work near any stairs. You know.
That's why I fell down. It was a new experience.
So yeah, that was the bad one.
Okay.
Shall I go into the good one, or should we switch up? Or
Go for it, dude.
All right. In sixth grade.
Wait. Did you win this one?
No, it was kind of like a draw, but I mean, I got punched in the face and, you know, the black eye, so of course I kind of lost at that point. I'm taking that as a loss. In sixth grade, I had a comic, and I was going to give it to my friend. It was one of my torn up comics. It was a Spider-Man or something. And this one kid in my class snatched it from me and ran. And so I went up to the teacher and I said, "Teacher, you stole my comic." And she's like, "You gotta handle it yourself. I don't have time for this." I'm like, okay. So I go up and I finally catch up to him, and I snatched the comic back, and then he pushed me, and then I pushed him, and then he swung on me, and I dipped back, and then I, you know, kind of beat him up in the class and got suspended.
And rightly so.
Yeah.
But, we can't have that.
Everybody was like, "That was awesome."
Yeah.
Like, "You are the man." And like, even I thought my parents were gonna be like super mad, but they weren't. You know, not that I'm telling you to fight. You know, anyone in the audience. but yeah, that's what happened to me. Yeah. So as you can see, I haven't been in too many fights since then. I don't think, or maybe I have. I just
blocked it out.
Yeah.
I guess you're up.
Yeah. They're all bad stories.
Fight stories.
Well, maybe tell us your worst one then, if you.
He's got the muscles.
No. Win, lose, or draw. I'm not a fan of physical violence.
Me neither.
Although I've experienced it a handful of times, either on the giving end or the receiving end, but still, they never end well. There was one recently, this past summer. It was actually at a club in Wilmington, and I was there supporting. And it was myself and a guitar prospect and our vocalist, Volpe. And at the end of the night, it must have been 20 after 1. Show's over.
Right.
Club's basically closed. And the bartender, who knows me because it's my home club, and not only do we play there, but I booked shows there.
Mojo!
Yes, Mojo 13. And Michelle says, look, somebody's outside holding a beer. Can you please go out and ask them to bring it back in? And I went out and did that, and it turned out it was the promoter on the show that just finished. And he didn't know who I was, and I didn't know who he was.
I'll play the promoter.
But, yeah. So I said something, and, he was like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. And then he didn't do anything about it. He didn't come back in. He didn't do the right thing. So I addressed it again. He got a little shitty with me. And I had a few in me myself. But I wasn't holding a beer in the parking lot at 1:30 in the morning, mind you. So I went back into the club, and I was real mouthy about this motherfucker this and this motherfucker that, and we're going to get, club's going to get shut down. This is my own club, and blah, 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 blah. And while I was running my mouth in general to no one specifically, because no one was really there, because the show was over, he had come back in and he heard me running my mouth, and then he ran his mouth, and one thing led to another, and he invited me outside. And
did you go?
I did. They, somebody twisted my rubber arm, and I went out, and reluctantly.
Well,
it didn't
it's only
end well for any of us.
Proper if you go.
Fortunately for me, it ended less not well for me than it did for him.
Okay.
But let's just cut it there, because it was definitely not a good situation. It was it was adult men being really drunk and having their egos involved and doing stupid shit. So that was the best and the worst.
On that, we have to take a quick break from the stupid shit and come back for more stupid shit in a minute.
We'll be back! He'll be back.